time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for a special Wednesday night edition for that boxing show known as The Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, True Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie? Happy Wednesday.
What's up, bitches?
Bitch, who are you fighting with now? Oh, man. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate everybody already joining us in the chat. Nando Lamas, Paul Martinez, shout out to you, homie. Sonteo Emilio, it's been a minute. Appreciate seeing you in the chat, fellas. Everybody in here. Man, there's so much happening midweek, Drew, that it's great. We really should be doing this 2-3 times a week, but there's so much breaking news. Obviously, we talked about it on the Shoe Shine every Monday for the past month or so. I've been saying I knew it was going to be Edgar Berlanga. And of course, David Benavidez was on standby. Basically, David Benavidez waiting as a mandatory by the WBC as the interim champ, waiting for 2 years. Drew, he just fought on the Gervonta Tank Davis card. He announced his decision based on what he heard from everybody from going around the ESPN circles. Dan Rafael yesterday saying, everybody hold up. It ain't official, but it's kind of official. So we're here for
Hold up, wait a minute.
So shout out to everybody joining us in the chat. If you haven't heard the news, September 14th, Mexican Independence Day, which is, has been Canelo's date ever since Floyd abandoned it. I don't know how Floyd ended up fighting on the great Mexican holidays, but hey, it is what it is. And the last September 14th, Canelo waited 2 weeks. But this time he says, nah, F that. I don't care what Dana White has in store. I don't care about UFC, Noche, whatever. I don't care what's cracking at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I'm going to fight September 14th, and it's going to be a great Puerto Rican showdown versus Mexico. Or is it a great Puerto Rican Mexican showdown? Is it the old school Mexico versus Puerto Rico showdowns? Or are we being sold can of poop?
Dave, you only leave one option for this. It's a dog shit. Like, seriously, come on, guys, seriously. This is worse than fucking Yurgin. Seriously, it really is. Like, look at it like this. That fight wasn't on pay-per-view. This fight's going pay-per-view. I don't think Berlanga's as good as Yurgin is. And I'm going to sorry, this is how it is, man. If that fucking bum can get a fucking fight with Canelo, then I should get a fight with Canelo then.
But Drew, he is ranked by the WBA. He is ranked by the WBA. But interesting enough, guys, we all know Edgar Berlanga rose to prominent fame, even on social media, because he had 15 straight knockouts, 15, 16. And Top Rank's like, hey man, like Top Rank does, it's time to step up the competition. And when he immediately stepped up the competition, he found himself in trouble going the distance 5 times in a row. And recently, finally stopped an Irish kind of traveling journeyman. He finally stopped somebody again in his most recent fight. And he put himself ranked number 4, I believe, by the WBA. Ranked number 1 in the WBA, saying, hey, Canelo, that's your mandatory. And then, of course, Canelo had 2 mandatories that are kind of undeserving. The other one being William Skull, who holds the IBF number 1 mandatory spot. But y'all know, guys, everybody here that watches the Shoe Shine, everybody that's even a casual fan of the sport knows that David Benavidez, the WBC interim champion, former WBC super middleweight champ, only lost it on the scale. He's been waiting around for 2 years, and he's been fighting the top guys. And, he had enough of that, and he moved up to 175. Kind of letting people know I may go up to contend there, if I can get a big fight or maybe a title fight, or I may come back down. And so he's made his announcement. We now know that. David Morrell, the other dark horse of the super middleweight division, he's going to be fighting in just a couple weeks, and he's finishing up his training camp here in Las Vegas, Drew, because Riyadh season August 3rd is right around the corner. So my first inclination is to ask Drew and ask everybody in the chat, how do you guys feel about this pay-per-view Are you even a casual fan of the UFC? Are you gonna be tripping trying to decide, do I spend the money on the UFC card, which will be a full flag event, tons of fighters? It's going to be in a unique, special venue, never before seen on combat sports, the Sphere, the big circular LED ball. Or do you watch Canelo in what is a surefire mismatch?
It's the UFC is going to destroy this pay-per-view. I'm sorry, but it is. This pay-per-view does not go past 250,000 buys, if that's lucky. Because here's the thing. They don't fucking... Puerto Ricans do not have faith in Berlanga. They believe Berlanga's going to get stopped inside 4 rounds. And to tell you the truth, I think he's going to quit inside 4 rounds. He's going to realize when he takes that first big shot and gets knocked down, he's going to be back to reality. He said, oh, shit. I ain't winning this shit. I got my payday. Because, tell you the truth, this is the only reason why Berlanga wanted this fight, for a payday, for a cash out.
Yeah, interesting. Crazy, because I saw Amanda Serrano tweet out something about, hey, my baby brother about to get the biggest bag of his life. It really is game-changing money. The question is, does the guy deserve it? Does he deserve upwards of what Caleb Plant made, $10 million? Is he deserving of that when he hasn't beat a contender in the super middleweight division? He hasn't beat Jaime Munguia. He hasn't beat Caleb Plant. Who has he beat at 160?
He hasn't fought anybody. That's the problem with this. This guy earned a title shot for fighting absolutely nobody. And it's crazy that Canelo entertained this. And what is Canelo's logic thinking that he should be on pay-per-view with this fucking C- level fighter? I don't get it. And then people are going to say and try to give him a pass. And I'm sorry, we can't give him a pass. This is bullshit. And then the thing, hey, David Benavidez says, I'm staying at 175. I don't know if it's because Canelo said if he became mandatory, I'm going to drop the belt. But look at it like this. I think he's already going to lose the IBF belt. The IBF is allowing him to be recognized as the undisputed champion, and is also allowing Berlanga, if it's a 1% upset to happen, to be called undisputed champion and allow him to fight Skull, the mandatory. But if Canelo wins, the fight's not going to happen with Skull, and he's going to vacate the belt. So I look at it like this. I don't see this fight going 4 rounds. I think he's going to quit inside 4 rounds. I just don't think, I'm sorry, he's not going to be able to take Canelo's power. He's not. He might even get knocked out cold. And Dave, are we able to get that interview link up then?
Yeah, I'm still working on that. It's possible it's going to be happening. The Phil Greco interview might be happening this upcoming week. Obviously, their phones are ringing nonstop. Everything is turned up and away for contender. Now, I believe he's going to be ranked, because he was already ranked. So Lucas Badie is a bona fide contender now at 135. Speaking of people that fought on the Jake Paul card, Drew, they're going to have a hard time making do. And Nando just made a great comment. And Nando, by the way, if you really want to call, you can just click that link. You can even cover your camera on your phone if you don't want to be on. Or I think the camera mute feature's off.
We don't want to see you ugly ass.
It's all good. If you guys want to use that, the phone line technically is off. So I'm going to take away the phone number for today. But yeah, Drew, I was just saying that of the Jake Paul fight, obviously we talked about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is reportedly in talks to be part of the September 14th Mexican Independence Day. card with Canelo Alvarez, because apparently Jake Paul wants to see a little bit more. Jake Paul wants to see more of the former middleweight champion before he commits to fighting Julio Cesar Chavez. And unbelievable to think that just some 10 years ago, probably, I was sitting next to Emiliano Vargas, who's now a top-ranked prospect, highly rated prospect, and he was just a little boy, and we were sitting there with all there watching that fight between Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez. And that was an ass whooping. But Drew, you brought up a great point. Canelo hasn't had a knockout in over 5 fights. And he has knocked down most of his opponents, but he hasn't been able to finish them. Is this what you guys think in the chat, that this is merely Canelo? He needs somebody that it's ranked, it's a mandatory, it's an obligation for the belts. He needs to knock somebody out. Because it's looking like everybody in the consensus is that Edgar Berlanga stands no chance unless he gets a lucky shot. And I'm not talking about the kind of lucky shot that contender Lucas Barrigas landed the other day on that fight. I'm talking about a lucky shot that we've not seen land that or hurt anybody. Canelo's never, to my memory, been knocked down, never been knocked down. Is he capable with his power? He's not. He just don't have the skill set, in my opinion.
I don't even think Berlanga I don't even think Berlanga has a gas tank. Like, if you look at, I don't know, man. It's just, this is a fight that's an easy. It's just not going to sell. And PBC is actually going to go along with this. And here's the thing: if Amazon was putting money up for this, Amazon would have allowed this. I'll tell you that right now. Amazon would say, "Yo, he needs a better opponent, or we're not putting this on." This would have been a DAZN fucking 2 lawsuit.
Yeah, and it really is. It's a giant mess for the PBC deal, whatever the PBC with Amazon deal is. Drew, the other big issue that I'm finding difficult believing that the date's actually going to be September 14th. Remember, guys, it's all speculation. They're putting out these graphics that it's going to be Mexican Independence Day. I, for one, think that we might hear something tomorrow that it's the week after, for all we fucking know. And some of you in the chat are saying $50 for this pay-per-view. Absolutely. Shout out to my girl, Mom Food Plant Things.
But
go out and subscribe to her on YouTube.
I look at it like this. They're offering Shakur more money than Loma. And I'll tell you why. I think Shakur is an easier fight for Tank. And I think Tank KOs Shakur. I think if you're going to look at it like this, I'm going to say that, I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to call this right now. Because the Tank Shakur fight is likely a done deal at this point. I will call this right now as my prediction. Tank, this is going to be a one-sided fight in favor of Tank, and Tank will knock Shakur Stevenson out with a body shot inside 8 rounds. And he will catch him to the body when Shakur goes to throw his platinum jab, which when he throws it, his non-throwing hand stays up to his face to block it, and he leads in too far like Amir Khan does. And that's where Tank slips in and knows the body shot to the liver.
Well, Drew, already with the big prediction. So, guys, we talked about it Monday. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson still looking for a promotional outfit. He went out and met with Eddie Hearn a couple of weeks ago. Oscar De La Hoya made a big social media splash with his clapback Thursday saying, you're a great fighter, but I'm not interested. You're not for me. So that leaves Shakur still, looking for maybe even a one-fight deal, Drew. And Kenny Ellis, the assistant coach of Gervonta Tank Davis, says this fight is all but certain to happen in November. So from not having it, from him potentially fighting Loma a week ago and that falling apart, now they're talking about this fight. And I, for one, say, that this is a unification. Of course we want to see this. Styles make great fights, Drew. Kenny Ellis says the only reason this fight doesn't happen is if Shakur Stevenson's, and I'm paraphrasing, chickens out, because he thinks Shakur Stevenson, when push comes to shove, he backs out of real fights. He backs out of the tough fights. He backs out of the fights that put fear in him. And Drew, the only fear he should have is really the same fear every other fighter who steps in the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis, and that's getting knocked out into oblivion. And that's exactly what you're predicting.
Yep. But here's the thing. I think if you're gonna look at it, I think they had the Tank's team strategy was to look like they were trying to make the fight with Loma with the money, try to offer him money that they know his team would not take, and then bring Shakur in. Say, hey, we'll offer you more. We'll offer you $5 million. That's how much he's likely getting paid for the fight. $5 million.
The most amount of cash he'd be paid for in one fight. And quite honestly, Drew, I've seen nothing but an upside. I mean, look at the upside it was for Ryan Garcia, even being stopped. Ryan Garcia being stopped in his very next fight was able to capitalize and make big money.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think this pay-per-view does shit.
Yeah, Nando says it should be. Yeah, I mean, he seemed to be right on it, man. I don't know. I don't know what a tank fights usually with a kind of a soft touch opponent or a no-name opponent. He's getting, 250,000 buys. Shakur Stevenson did get 1 million eyes on ESPN on free TV. So maybe it might do well. It might do well. It might do easily like 500,000.
Shakur, I think, is an easier fight for him than Loma because Shakur, he's gonna be on his back foot, trying to escape. Tank can cut the wing off. Use his foot will cut the wing off and everything. With Loma, Tank will probably be on his back foot most of the night.
Yeah.
And everything. So,
Shakur Stevenson has record low output. He had broken a record for the lowest amount of punches offensively thrown in a championship fight, obviously against the Dominican fighter, De Los Santos.
Yeah,
it's if you got that low output, you're not going to put any fear in Tank Davis. He's going to be able to walk you down eventually. Hey, shout out to Sergio. Appreciate you being in here. We're talking about all the big announcements. Of course, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, September 14th against Puerto Rican, I guess, boxing star. If he thinks he's a star, he's saying out today on Twitter that he's the big Puerto Rican star, the new big thing. And will it happen September 14th, the same night as the UFC is holding their big UFC Noche on September 14th in the city of Las Vegas? Drew?
I'm sorry. Berlanga's not the next Puerto Rican star.
Yeah, I think you and I are both in agreement that...
And the Puerto Ricans will speak on it, and they will say that the next Puerto Rican star is Xander Zayas.
Exactly. And it's true. You know, before we wrap up that part of the segment here, the Canelo versus Puerto Rican star, I think a real good example of a Puerto Rico versus Mexico showdown would be Xander Zayas against Jesus Ramos Jr. Who is a true bona fide potential. He should be undefeated. He fought on the Canelo undercard, and they are both strong, young, prime fighters, really in the prime of their game at 154. That would be an epic showdown. And that's a great example of a Mexico versus Puerto Rico showdown. And Drew, speaking of the 154-pound division, obviously our good friend of the show here, Nando, will be attending Riyadh season coming up August 3rd in Los Angeles. Drew, I've got some news to report on that subject. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the fight. Madrimov is a beast. I think this is not going to be an easy fight. It's going to be a real test for Terrence Bud Crawford, and a lot is at stake. There is so much news revolving this fight, guys. For once, August 31, that is going to be the open media workout. It looks like they're going to add these 3 fights. This is very interesting to me. These are going to be free fights. It looks like it's going to be held at the Santa Monica Beach Boardwalk outdoors. This is some crazy shit, Drew. Riyadh season will be putting on 3 free fights. And it features Mark Castro out of Fresno, California. And he's fighting someone that I thought for sure was done, because I've seen him fight. George Acosta, guys, is a guy I followed from Club Boxing. He was on Thompson Boxing, a small club outfit that we regularly watched on YouTube. And he got destroyed by a no-name Mexican guy. I was there. He made his debut on Top Rank, Drew. and he got smoked by a nobody. And George Acosta has a huge fan base in Southern California. So this is going to be the main event, July 31st at the Santa Monica Pier. I think it's going to be free. This shit is crazy. After a public workout, you're going to have these 3 fights, most likely on YouTube. Nathan Lugo is also a prospect that a lot of people want to have their eyes on. So this is very interesting. There's going to be a preview to the big card August 3rd. Now, the Terrence Crawford news is big because obviously, Drew, Terrence Crawford wants nothing more than that big payday with Canelo Alvarez, and he's got to do quite a few things. And something very interesting has happened in the division of the 154. We know that Tim Tszyu was either going to fight, he's been mandated to fight Erickson Lubin, and he wanted to have that fight. It's all but said and done that they're going to host a fight in Australia. Erickson Lubin did it again. I said it was going to happen, dude. He's walked out from big fights. Why do you want to take a fight like that in Tim Tszyu's backyard? He says he's got a medical emergency. Tim Tszyu and Lubin, they're done. The purse bid is canceled, guys. That means that the number 1 spot is for a friend of our show, Jesus Ramos Jr. Does Jesus Ramos Jr. take this opportunity to go into that guy's backyard and potentially be robbed like Manny Pacquiao was robbed? I mean, do you take that opportunity, Drew, as a fighter? As a fighter, you say, I don't give a shit. Now, someone he fought, Brian Mendoza, he did it. But Brian Mendoza got worked in that fight.
Here's the thing. I think Ramos has a good chance of winning that fight. But I look at it like this. He's coming off a loss, which he was clearly robbed.
He did fight again. Interesting enough, he's coming off a big win, Drew. He fought on the recent pay-per-view but at 4 p.m. and he had a very good victory. So he's back in the victory lane, and he actually stopped the guy, which he hasn't had a stoppage in a while. So a very good win for Jesus Ramos Jr. And if he didn't have that Lubin controversial loss, he'd be undefeated. But Drew, you're right. He has the potential to beat him, but this would be the toughest fight of his life, and not for a title. Not for a title.
That's the one thing. I look at it, and I really think that maybe it's a big toss-up, because do you want to go to Australia and fight? Oh, like, I don't know. If he's not in the mood to go to Australia, then no. You gotta be in the mood to want to go somewhere and fight and everything, because you're gonna be away from your family for a while and everything, training there. But I look at it like this: Tszyu's coming off a loss, which a lot of the events in that loss played against him and everything. It's a freak accident with the elbow hitting his head, and it affected him and everything. But I don't know. It's really. If I'm Tim Tszyu, I'm really looking to potentially get out of the. I think I would get out of my PBC contract first of all if I'm Tim Tszyu, my co-promoter contract, because I don't think they are doing anything to benefit him and anything. He's doing better numbers in Australia with his Australian promoter.
No Limit Boxing. Yeah, it's a kind of I'm sure it's a co-promotional deal. Nando brings up that Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz is going to be massive one day, and Virgil Ortiz is going to have a hell of a fight against Bohacek next month in Las Vegas. I'm going to be there.
Man, with both like that fight, man, when I saw Tim Tszyu and Virgil Ortiz, man, I said Tim Tszyu was going to stop Virgil Ortiz. Bohacek, I still think Bohacek wins the fight. I think this, because I look at it like this. Virgil, he's had all these issues and everything. The weight, like the fucking, like the health issues, and then like him coming back, he had a couple of like pushovers, and he didn't really get any rounds in. It really. And I just, to have a big test like that coming either way, it's not favorable. It's not a favorable situation for him. And like, Now he's finally stepping up. He's finally stepping up in competition.
Yeah.
But I just think that maybe they should have got a step lower to at least try to get him some rounds in and everything from coming back, because you look at it like this, he's moving up. He had to move from 147. He's fought, and he didn't even fight at 154 his last fight. His last two fights, he didn't fight at 154. He couldn't even make the weight at 154, Dave. Remember that last fight?
Yeah, he hasn't made. I
Yeah.
started it off this January. I ran into Santo Media at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas, and indeed, Virgil did not make weight in January, and he didn't make weight.
No.
He needs to make weight. Hey, this is a big freaking deal because this is an interim title, and the interim title is going to get you in position to fight potentially Terrence Bud Crawford. I mean, yeah, and Tim Tszyu needs to get one of his titles back. The other big news, guys, aside from the fact that we've got all these great matchups in the 154-pound division, Drew, is that Terrence Crawford, okay, Terrence beat the brakes off of Errol Spence. Errol Spence was going to be the dance partner for, Towering Inferno, Fundora. And obviously, for medical reasons, he took a major beating. He's out. He's also out, Drew. He's done. He can't fight. Maybe he'll never fight again.
I think he shouldn't fight again.
So Fundora has petitioned the sanctioning body to say, hey, I will wait for Terrence Crawford after August 3rd. There is no need for me to fight anybody. I want a unification. Terrence Crawford or Madrimov are going to walk away as a belt holder at that Division 154. So we're going to have a hell of another fight. If Terrence Crawford wants it, he's going to be a unified champion by the end of the year. If he can get through Madrimov, if he can get by Fundora. But then you've got all these other great contenders. This is why 154 is so much better than middleweight division, than the welterweight division. Man, you got Jesus Ramos Jr., you got Tim Tszyu, who just recently lost his title, like you said, because of the damn cut that put him at a disadvantage. You've got Virgil Ortiz. But Terrence Crawford says, if I win these, man, I want nothing but Canelo. May 2025. He's got to start moving up, man. He's got to start building that frame. He's talking about gaining 20 pounds of muscle to fight Canelo Alvarez. That's a tall task.
I look at it like this, Dave. I really think he needs to concentrate on unifying 154. But here's the issue. Samson is the biggest issue of that thing, because that fight could have been made. Samson, because his loyalties to PBC and knowing they don't want Terrence Crawford to get another belt off them and everything, it's like, give up the belt. And that's the fucked up thing. And I lost a lot of respect for Sebastian Fundora because of it. You want to be, I thought your motivation was to be an undisputed champion, was to be the best or something, and you were willing to give up that belt because your promoter did not want you, the guy that works for you got you to give up your belt. So you didn't have to fight that. So you didn't have to fight a guy that they didn't want to have that belt. So it's a fucking shame and everything, man. And tell you the truth, I really think that fight that Tim Tszyu's waiting for an opponent, I think the opponent's going to be Fundora. And I think it's going to be in Australia. I think Fundora versus him is going to be a rematch in Australia.
So you don't think... I thought Fundora still had to wait until the end of the year for his own health, but Tim also had the same injury. Both of them were injured in that fight. They should theoretically be able to fight again. And I think, Drew, I'm with you, man. That rematch sells. That rematch sells 100% because obviously, I don't think it's a great idea financially and strategically for Jesus Ramos to go down there for a non-title opportunity with his ranking to fight Tim Tszyu. It can only set him back if he loses, set him back big time. And for non-title, the fight to make, Drew, like you said, is Tim Tszyu to get back in title contention. Then maybe he has something to bring to the table against Virgil. He could set himself up potentially to entice Terrence Bud Crawford to stick around 154. Lots of great fights to be made here.
And I look at it like this. Virgil has to win this fight. If Virgil doesn't win this fight, he already out of the picture. This puts him out of the picture for right now. Because there's so many names at 154, you can't afford to lose a fight. And, like, he loses, he's going to be out the picture for right now. Until all these other guys are gone. Unless he gets another opportunity. But with Ramos is a win away, get himself back in that picture, getting him in a big fight. And I really think that I think the fight should be Sue versus Fundora in Australia as the rematch. But I think Tim Sue will win that fight.
And like you said, you mentioned earlier, Samson had originally agreed on multiple interviews, or maybe one big interview I saw on YouTube, that they're going to honor the rematch. And that just basically went out. It went out with, like, I don't know. Speaking of Samson, and this is, I don't know how much of this is true, Drew, but the WBC was reportedly going to force David Benavidez, if he stuck around at 168, to fight Christian and Billy. And that seemed like David Benavidez, he took a look at that situation if he were to remain at 168 waiting for an opportunity to fight Canelo. And he's like, I'm not going to take a step down and fight Christian and Billy. First of all, Christian and Billy is a dangerous opponent. He's relatively unknown. He's relatively still untested, barely going to fight Derevchenko. So this would kind of be a step backwards in the career of David Benavidez. And I think under the advisement of Samson, Drew, I think they're like, nah, man, we got to chase the title opportunity at 175. We're not going to be fighting people like Christian and Billy at super
Here's the
middleweight.
thing. I think Billy will cause problems for Benavidez. And Billy will cause Benavidez to have to move his feet a lot more. Because Billy is a guy that prowls off activity, prowls off, like bumping and weaving and going for shots and everything, going body to body with somebody. And I just really see him giving Benavidez a little bit of trouble. But people are saying that, they're going to move at 175 because they realize, hey, if they mandate the fight with Benavidez, Canelo just dropped the belt and everything. But I don't know. I don't know how that fucking plays out. But end of the day, man, I think he has to fucking Benavidez. He's not gonna win. He's not going to beat Benavidez. He's not gonna beat Bivol. He needs to fight somebody else to get him ready for that fight, for that win over fight, but he still doesn't beat them. I think Benavidez is really in a division now where he's not the big man anymore. He's not the weight bully.
There's plenty of guys in that light heavyweight division that not only have his size and height and reach advantage. Even the guy who fought Dimitri Bivol recently, I think would put up a great fight. I don't remember his name. Came in around 6'2", same reach. You got tons of guys. Even Hot Rod that will be fighting David Morrell is relatively the same size as David Benavidez.
Here's the thing. They said that the rumor is his fight in December will be against Anthony Yard.
Potentially.
Yeah, not
a fight I hate. Anthony Yard's been around the block. He's a solid guy. He's fought Kovalev. He has a solid name in the UK.
They also will talk about Joshua Blatzy, but they think that the Blatzy fight's a long shot because they think he's a bad matchup for Benavidez.
Yeah, he definitely is. I hate to say it, but David's got to take up step-up fights. Listen, they're targeting. He is the mandatory. They've accepted the role. They will. David Benavidez is going to fight the winner of Dimitri Bivol. If everything goes well with the recovery, remember he's almost 40 years old of Beterbiev, then he'll be fighting that winner. And he's making an announcement that it's going to be May 3rd, Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas, May 3rd, 2025. He is fighting for the undisputed crown at light heavyweight, 175 pounds. Drew, and I'm going to ask the chat, and if you guys are listening to this in the replay, but drop a comment and let me know, does David Benavidez get away with competing with Canelo Alvarez. I mean, where is he going to fight? He's with PBC. Canelo's with PBC.
Well,
What I think is going to happen, Drew, hey, here's my long shot prediction. Canelo and David Benavidez fight on the same card next year, Cinco de Mayo, and it's going to be brought to you by the Saudis because the Saudis are going to be putting on that fight. They've already announced that they're going to be putting on David Benavidez versus the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. That fight could potentially be the fight I've been waiting for right here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Raiders. With Canelo at the top of the card fighting Terrence Bud Crawford and David Benavidez fighting for the undisputed championship. Two people fighting, two undisputed championship fights will sell out or nearly sell out Allegiant Stadium. And then Canelo can finally redeem himself. And, think about, do I move up to 175 again, like I did earlier in my career, and fight for the undisputed crown against David Benavidez? Because recently, people think Canelo can beat David Benavidez, especially after that performance at 175 David Benavidez just put on.
Dave, I'm gonna be honest right now with you about that. I don't think he's gonna fight that winner of that fight if the Saudis won it, because Sampson is gonna prevent him from doing it. Sampson is gonna say,
this is your chance to entice.
PBC needs control of this, David. We don't need the Saudis in this. PBC is going to have control of this.
PBC recently put on Tank, arguably the second pay-per-view star in America, and David Benavidez on the same card. PBC with Turkey, Al Sheikh, can put on this mega fight with Canelo at the top of the card versus Terrence Bud Crawford and David Benavidez fighting the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. I think it could happen, and I think it could set up the ultimate stage for Canelo's legacy, which is to finally fucking fight David Benavidez. Fight him at 175. Big fucking deal. You move up again. You lose to him at light heavyweight. All good. You come back down. Everybody will be waiting for you at 168. I don't think watered down 168.
Beats fucking Bivol Beterbiev. I think he's gonna get stopped by Evil Guy.
I did forget about that. I forgot to think about the fact that David Benavidez has to beat Dimitri Bivol, because I think Bivol is gonna beat Beterbiev. Yeah, nobody beats. I don't think Bivol gets beat
like this.
At light heavyweight.
And I don't care what Benavidez fanboy thinks. He's easy fucking work for Demetrius Bivol.
David Benavidez better hope Beterbiev stops Dimitri Bivol. He better hope it. Dimitri Bivol's almost been stopped by Joe Smith Jr. And by the way, Joe Smith Jr., this is crazy news, but Jake Paul is talking about fighting Joe Smith Jr., who I did see Joe Smith Jr. fight at 200 pounds cruiserweight against Zurdo Ramirez here at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. And Joe Smith looked like a shadow of himself at 200 pounds. He didn't look anything like the guy who was the blue-collar light heavyweight champion of the world. Jake Paul talking about fighting a real champion? I mean, dog, start with Julio Cesar Chavez. Stay away from Joe Smith. Yeah, Joe Smith Jr. didn't look great at cruiserweight, but I think he stops you, dog. I mean, the last time you fought a real boxer from the UK, it didn't look too good. Easy work, says Drew. So that's all the bullshit going around the Canelo universe. David Benavidez. Blue collar Joe Smith. Yeah, I mean, I think he would take something. I think he would take the Jake Paul fight, and I think he'd stop Jake Paul. I mean, it's an interesting proposition. While talking about the cruiserweight division, I mentioned that Julio Cesar Chavez says he's going to be on the undercard of the Canelo Mexican Independence Day card. If it takes place that weekend or if it takes place the following week, he's going to be fighting on that card in Las Vegas or wherever the fuck it takes place. Again, it's all conjecture, guys. He's talking about he wants to fight Zurdo Ramirez at 8. He feels so good about what he did Saturday night on the Jake Paul card that Julio Cesar Chavez says, bring on Zurdo Ramirez. Bring him on. I'm ready to fight for a cruiserweight championship. Drew, he just fought a guy who was an MMA, not even an MMA champ. He just fought an MMA retired fighter, and he's talking about he should be ranked number 1 to fight Zurdo Ramirez. He tripping.
Dave,
he's tripping.
This dude hasn't fought a 10-round fight or a 12-round fight.
What
in
was that?
decades,
6?
in
Was it
majors.
6 or 8 rounds?
That was a 6-round fight.
And he was
Don't
gassed.
tell me you
He's gonna
deserve
go
to get
12?
ranked as a. That dude must have had coke that night.
Man, can you imagine? He hasn't even fought. I don't think I've seen him fight 6 rounds at cruiserweight, and he's talking
Like-
about
like,
he should
come
fight
on,
a 12-rounder.
Fucking Mickey Rourke must probably stuck him a bag of coke in the fight before he fought. Like he had, like in the corner like this. Yo, kid. Yo. I'm gonna put a line on my fucking sleeve, man. Snort it up real quick. Got it. I'm gonna check your eye.
So Nando says Zurdo takes that money. You know what? The fight could be intriguing. It could sell decently here in Las Vegas. And I would actually want to watch that to see Julio Cesar Chavez get beat down again. But he needs to prove himself. If he fights on this Canelo undercard, he needs to go 10. He needs to show that he could fight at 200 pounds, at least 10 rounds. I don't even know how he'd get a title eliminator position like that. But
He's gonna quit.
he needs to prove something. He needs to do something special. There's obviously, guys, it's been crazy. I appreciate it. I convinced Drew to come on here for a second show. It's going to be a short show, not the full hour. We got a couple other hot topics to cover. And obviously, we talked about Shakur Stevenson. He's out with Top Rank. That was his last fight. 1 million plus people supposedly saw him fight on ESPN. Now Shakur's free agent. And what that did, Drew, we just talked about on Monday that Top Rank and Golden Boy have signed an agreement for partnership with Turki Al-Sheikh. And that's going to give them even more money to play with. And play they did, because Top Rank did some bold effing moves. I did not see this coming at all. And I'm interested in what Oscar De La Hoya is going to say on Clapback Thursday tomorrow, if he's going to say anything at all, because I didn't see this shit coming, Drew. But Jaime Munguia, who just fought Canelo Alvarez, said, "C'est la vie," Oscar De La Hoya, quietly. Nobody even knew this shit was coming, but he was on his last fight. He joins Top Rank. Jaime Munguia joins Top Rank.
You want to know why he left? And I'll tell you why he left. And this is the agree or disagree. He left basically because of the way Oscar carried himself during that build-up. Oscar, instead of putting the focus on Hyman, which this is the biggest fight of this dude's career and everything, took the spotlight from his fighter to air his beef with Canelo Alvarez. You took the spotlight away from that kid that had the biggest fight of his career, fighting the biggest name in boxing, because you wanted to show off and say and talk about your beef with Canelo, and thinking that the spotlight had to be on you. That's why that kid left you and joined Top Rank. He's fucked up his own fucking brand, and by being selfish, instead of letting this kid put his name in history, let the public know who he is and everything, let the fans know who he is. You took that away from him, and that's fucked up. And now that kid left you to go to fucking Top Rank. Well, I think they will promote him great. They will do right by Jaime Munguia. Because I tell you the truth right now, that kid can be made into something. That kid can have great fights on there with the likes of Christian and Billy.
Drew?
Yeah,
Christian and Billy. Absolutely. Janibek couldn't make weight at 160, and obviously that means he really needs to move up to 168. They've already got a date for him, guys. I can't believe how fast this. And shout out to Zanfer Promotions, because this is a co-promotional deal. He is still promoted by Zanfer, and they got a date for him, dude. I don't know who Eric Bazignan is, if he's undefeated, who he is, but it don't matter, because September 20th is the weekend after the Mexican Independence Day. They're going to be fighting in Arizona, where Jaime Munguia has already established a tremendous fan base, and it's going to be televised. most likely going to be televised on free ESPN, not even ESPN Plus True. What they did was throw out Shakur and say, Shakur, you're the most fucking boring fighter we've ever seen on free TV. And we're taking that money and investing it in Jaime Munguia, who, in my opinion, win, lose, or draw, is made for TV type fighter. He's a made for TV, must watch TV fighter. And we're going to finally get some exciting matchups. Whoever Eric is, whatever, it don't matter, Drew. You nailed it. They got Christian and Billy. They've got Janabek potentially moving up to 168.
And here's the other thing. They got a terrific relationship with Queensberry, and Siraz can be a potential matchup for him in the future.
And even the IBF. Drew, one thing I didn't talk about for the September Mexican Independence Day matchup is that the IBF may not be putting the belt. They may be stripping Canelo soon because he refused to fight William Skull. There was some step aside money. I think that if he doesn't fight William Skull immediately after, I don't even know if they're going to grant him that. They're sounding, IBF is trying to act like, hey man, we're going to strip you immediately after Mexican Independence Day and allow William Skull, whatever his name is, to fight for that vacant belt. And because William Skull is like, he's not even tied to any major promoter that I know of. He can make a fight with Jaime Munguia. You could see Jaime Munguia in the next 6 months to 9 months fight for the IBF title, which would put him in great position for a Canelo rematch.
I think that'll probably be the best for Top Rank to do that, is to get him the IBF strap.
It could happen. So Top Rank
makes more sense.
Yeah, Top Rank made some big freaking moves today. Major announcement, Jaime Munguia has left Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. Santiago Media says, Zanfer, also known as Fernando Beltran, reminds me of Samson Lukowicz. They like the cameras. They love cameras.
You know what? Oscar's losing guys now.
Yeah, and he's going to have to put all his investment into, unfortunately, Ryan Garcia, Virgil Ortiz,
Kid Austin.
Schofield, yeah, and even Camarón, William Zepeda. Obviously, he's banking on William Zepeda potentially becoming a lightweight champion, a big potential star there. He even has that guy Oscar Duarte, who's lost to Ryan Garcia, but he's got a handful of people I think he's going to be investing his time and energy into. A big loss, in my opinion, for Oscar De La Hoya. Anxiously looking forward to see if he'll announce it tomorrow on Clapback Thursdays, if he'll even bring it up. Now, that's not the only big move that Top Rank made today. We talk about Junto Nakatani, the 118-pound champion, as the next big thing. Obviously, he's a knockout artist. He knocked out... what's the Australian-Irish guy? Maloney.
Andrew Mahoney.
Man, that was knockout of the year, just a year prior, knockout of the year. But still, he's not relatively known in the U.S., even though Nakatani trains right here in Los Angeles with, I believe, Rudy Hernandez. He comes here for every training camp for over 12 years to Los Angeles. He's going to be fighting on American TV because Top Rank just did the big thing. They signed Junto Nakatani, a huge, huge signing, a co-promotional deal as well.
Of course, they're in better shape, Nando, than PBC. PBC has to pay for its own production, and they're nearly broke because of it. And Golden Boy got the zone behind them. Of course, they're in better shape than PBC. Like, here's the thing about that. When you look at the difference with who's backing you and everything, Amazon is backing PBC knowing that, hey, we're not going to lose no money if this don't work out and everything. They're just a fucking guinea pig to see if Amazon can sell boxing on their platform. That's all they are. But fucking the Junto Nakatani signing is a great, is a great signing for Top Rank. You could set up eventually him versus Inoue. Or you can cope, since you got a relationship with the Saudis now, a partnership, so does Matchroom and everything. You can make Bam versus Nakatani.
Yeah, obviously that's a fight that we're all dreaming about. Currently, Bam Rodriguez post-fight conference, he said, I know his dream fight is to fight Inoue, but Nakatani's just 3 pounds above him. Obviously, that's a fight that is extremely dangerous. You're talking about a 3-division world champion, the WBC bantamweight champion, and he's got business. Bam Rodriguez has got plenty of business, plenty of big fights at 115. Now, this signing makes a dream superstar the Japanese fights of all Japanese fight is Junto Nakatani versus the Monster Inoue at 122. That's more likely with the Saudis now backing Top Rank, with that investment that they're going to be doing as partners. That fight is really plausible. That fight is extremely plausible. Question is, who does Junto Nakatani want to beat up next? Does he fight Chocolatito? Chocolatito looked great recently at 118 in his recent performance just a couple weeks ago. Sky's the limit for this guy, Junto Nakatani. 28-0 on the peak of his game, 26 years old, a true knockout artist. I think that fight with Inoue is going to happen, man. It's going to happen eventually once he moves up to that 122.
Yeah, like it's something to look forward to and everything. But it's good signings by Top Rank. Top Rank going to be able to use both of them right away. Going to be able to possibly put them both in contention. Like Nakatani is a champion already, 3-division champion, pound for pound talent and everything. So it was two good signings for them. So now we just got to see where it goes. Like the landscape's changing in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And like the question is, does Al Heyman and the PBC file suit and get a partnership with the Saudis?
They better do something. They better jump on that because it looks like their funding is going to be drying up. If everything you hear on you don't think they do?
I think Al Heyman wants to be in control.
They might even want to consider just selling the entire operation, if you ask me.
If I'm him, I would. I would say, hey, you want my whole roster? You want Tank Davis's contract? I'll give you Tank Davis's contract.
There's plenty of fighters that reportedly have invested with Al Heyman and don't know where their money is, Drew. That's what's going around. They trusted Al with their paychecks and their money, and he was going to invest it, and now they don't know where that money is.
But you know what?
That's a rumor, but
if Turkish comes up to these fighters and says, hey, he owes you money, right? Yeah. So you're legally not obligated to him then because he owes you money. He's in breach of contract. I will pay you right now the money he owes you in advance. Give you all the money back he owes you. I'll pay you right now for it. You sign with me. And I'll make sure you're paid on time every fight. You do it. I make sure you're paid every time. I even put in a percentage in advance for you. Don't tell me a lot of those guys are going to turn that down. I don't think any of them turn it down. I think they're going to be like this. Al Heyman owes me at least $300,000. Turkey's going to cut them a check for $300,000. You sign with me, I'll cut you a check right now for $300,000. There you go. You signed. I got you. Here's your check right there. Put it in your bank account. Enjoy that. And everything. Or a guy come up to him and says, hey, Al Heyman owes me $5 million. Shows him the paperwork that he owes him $5 million and everything. So I'm going to invest it. Oh, here's your check for $5 million. Put it in your account, man. You sign with me or what? Okay. I think this is the thing that looks bad. That Al Heyman owes a lot of people money. And he's even probably owes Floyd money still. And everything. That's how fucking bad it is. But I look at it like this. I just really don't think that PBC will be, like I said, in October 2024, in 2023, October 2023, I said, that time next year, which is October 2024, the PBC will all be up for sale, or the PBC will fold because Al Heyman will be the problem. They'll lose their network, Showtime, which they did already. They already lost their network. And they're with someone, but here's the issue. They're not helping them financially. And it's only going to go so far because you are losing money on pay-per-views. You are losing money. You had all these events scheduled, non-pay-per-view events, they're all canceled. You don't even see them on the lineup, Dave, for the rest of the year. So what does that tell you? They don't know what the fuck's going to happen. They just don't. They don't know what the future holds. And now you made another financial mistake in allowing Canelo Alvarez to pick this fucking bum to fight on pay-per-view, which you are going to put a price tag of $85 on and expect the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans to buy this fight when the Puerto Ricans don't give a fuck about it, have no faith in that kid, and the Mexicans know Canelo's going to knock him the fuck out easily. So at the end of the day, we are going to see this in the fuck. We are going to look at it like this. I got my fire stick ready. I got my street. I got my.
Oh, don't tell nobody you got a fire stick. That's.
I only got a fire stick, Dave.
You gonna
I
get.
go on my laptop or my iPad and go watch no Stream East or VIP League.
That's the worst thing you can admit on social media is you got a fire stick if you follow combat sports. Dude, that was an epic rant, man. I appreciate everybody stopping by for a special Wednesday night show.
Like, seriously, you are taking. This is why boxing is in a decline. This is why boxing is still in decline because why do these promoters let themselves be fucking used? Knowing the pay-per-view market is dead. Why the fuck do you continue to be a dick rider for your fucking fighter? Because here's the thing. A couple of years ago, when Canelo Alvarez was a golden boy, and when DAZN stepped up and told them, we're giving this dude $300 million, right? $350 million, right? I paid him $30 million a fight, right, guys? To fight this trash? And I'm supposed to pay him $30 million for this? No. I'll pay him $5 million to fight this piece of trash. No, I'm suing you. That's part of my contract. Part of your contract is that we pick the fights for you, not you pick the fights. So at the end of the fucking day, the promoters are as much to blame as the fighters that think they're entitled that haven't earned it, and the fans that let it go. That let it go because they want to waste their fucking money. Oh, I'm a real boxing fan. I want to waste my fucking money. Dave, let's look at it like this right now. You want to know what half those motherfuckers make a year that say that shit? And they're going to be the ones crying out that they're fucking broke afterwards and that shit and everything. Half those motherfuckers probably make less than probably $45,000 a year. Wow. And then they buy that shit every fucking
Hey, those
month.
are hardworking people, though. I'm not going to belittle those people.
They buy those fucking pay-per-views and they waste their money on the fights and they know that they're fucking ain't worth it and everything. And they're like, I'm fucking broke. And now the fucking people I look at and say, yeah, maybe you should use a fire stick, you stupid bastard. And that's how I look at it. Like, people, oh, Drew, you don't buy pay-per-view because I'm a smart motherfucker. That's fine.
There you have it. Drew defending himself vehemently for the use of a Fire Stick device. I know so many of you people have them out there. By the way, Drew, you can't be broke and go to the UFC Noche event September 14th in Las Vegas at the Sphere, because I got an email from the Venetian Casino, because they got my name. I used to go there and stay there. The Venetian Casino has a special VIP package if you're going to the UFC Noche. They've got special promotional rates to make your combat sports dream weekend a beautiful reality. That brought to you by the Venetian in Palazzo, Las Vegas. How many hotels are going to partner with Canelo Alvarez? I ain't got no email from MGM Grand talking about come see Canelo September 14th. We got a special VIP room package for you.
Nah, I got to explain the Nando. Your comment, man, let's look at it like this. We're gonna do this, Nando. I'm gonna help you out, man, because I'm that nice of a guy to help you out. When you put a fight together and you put a fight on pay-per-view, you gotta look at how much you're charging, how much the gate's gonna be, and how much you need, how many pay-per-view buys you fucking need to fucking at least break even. And not lose money on that pay-per-view. So let's see this. Let's say this Berlanga Canelo fight coming up. Let's say that fight's going to cost $85. This is most likely and everything. You need a gate of at least $15 to $20 million. And you need that fight to do at least 800,000 pay-per-view buys to break even. Now, after 800 and maybe 10,000 pay-per-view buys, and you got a $15 to $20 million gate, you're making a little profit from that. But if you're under 800K, you're losing fucking money. Like the Canelo Munguia fight, that did like 500K, maybe a little bit more than that. They had a good gate, but here's the thing: you had an $85 price tag on it, and you lost fucking money. So there you go, Nando. There goes your fucking explanation. There goes your fucking education for the fucking night. I hope you enjoy it. Next time, I'm charging you for it.
Well, I'll definitely have the phone lines open next Monday, because you do owe the opportunity to Nando to have a retort.
Price.
It's been a great show. I appreciate you guys joining us for a special Wednesday night. Drew, I want to give a little bit of praise to Gervonta Tank Davis, because he asked for an exemption. You know, he's on probation. He's not supposed to be going anywhere, but he's headed to the Olympics in Paris, France. And shout out to Christine Lopez, Team USA Boxing, doing her thing out there, coaching everybody. But Drew, he's going out there to supposedly mentor and give advice and just be there for the Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic team. Boxing, you know, the Olympics are starting. The Olympics are starting already, Summer Olympics. And Drew, but I think, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis just created, or he's expanding his own promotional company, and he's got LRB at the top. I think he's there because, you know what? He learned from the best, Floyd Mayweather. He's there to potentially sign any future stars to Gervonta Tank Davis Promotions, because that's exactly what Floyd did. Floyd flew out to Brazil and was there to try to sign Shakur Stevenson as his top guy, and he was unsuccessful. He lost that to Top Rank, but I think Tank Davis, he's there to sign the next big American star. But shout out to him for going and helping out with the team, Drew. I appreciate everybody that joined us. By the way, Drew, football season, it's underway, man. The Raiders are starting their training camps. Today was day one for training camps across the country. That means the return of Tailgate Talk. I am excited. I can't wait for football season.
We are 19 subs away from 1,000.
Man, that's going to be a big deal, and we should get there pretty sure. I appreciate everybody that subbed. If you haven't had a chance to sub, help us out, because we'll be having 1,000 subscriber celebration pretty damn soon. Appreciate everybody joining us. Hey, Drew, I appreciate that rant, man. That was epic. Any final thoughts? I guess you did have your final thoughts.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. Seriously. Oh, they can guarantee Canelo's money. You're damn right they're going to guarantee Canelo's money, but here's the thing. You got to pay him, but you still lose fucking money. Come on, Nando. Come on, Nando. What the fuck?
Hey, I'm turning on the phone lines Monday. Nando, if you can, give us a call.
God, pup. Just don't put me the fuck to sleep, Nando, if you fucking call in. Seriously.
Hey, thanks to my homegirl Mom Food Planet thing. She's on YouTube, guys. She has a great channel. I'll see everybody next Monday, so stay tuned till then. Everybody have a blessed weekend. Dave in the 702, Philly Irish Drew Evo. We're out. Peace out, everybody.